I'm Sky Cubacub, the creator of Rebirth Garments, a clothing line for queer and trans disabled folks of all sizes and ages. Please watch the previous video on proper opening and closing ring techniques so that you can know what's going on in this video. In this video, we're going to make a Byzantine Chainmaille Bracelet, but you do have enough rings in your Mad Skillz grab-and-go kit to make a necklace if you want. This kit is brought to you by the Chicago Public Library and Teen Services Department. This is both part of Mad Skillz, but also Radical Fit, which is my queer DIY fashion curriculum. The rings we are using today are 18 gauge, which refers to the thickness of the ring, and then they are 3/16 of an inch inner diameter. So that means the space between the one edge of the inside to the other edge of the inside is 3/16 of an inch. We got these rings from the Ring Lord in Canada. They have pretty affordable rings, but you can also get them through kits at Blue Buddha Boutique. They tend to use a numbered and lettered system that they have created, which is actually what I learned it all on. So in my head, I always call them H18s. This is going to be a pretty repetitive process. That's kind of how chainmail usually is. But we're going to make a bunch of little tiny units and just kind of stack them next to each other. And then when we have a couple of them, we're going to link them together. You're going to pick up one of your open rings and you're going to scoop up 5 of your closed rings, and then you're going to close that open ring. Now you're going to take another open ring and you're going to double this ring. So whenever I say doubling a ring, it means you want to go through the same rings that you scooped up, but not through the ring that was previously an open ring. So these are just going to be hanging out right next to each other like that. And yeah, you don't want to have them go through each other because then that creates what we call a Mobius. Now you have 5 closed rings, and then you have 2 rings that were previously open rings that are just right next to each other. Now you're going to separate these 5 rings and have 3 on one side and 2 on the other. Pick up another open ring and scoop up 2 closed rings. And you're gonna go through the side that has 3 rings. And now close it. And now you're going to pick up another open ring and double that ring you just closed. So what you're basically doing is making a bunch of little units where it goes 2, 2, 3, 2, 2. So now we're going to put that to the side and we're going to make another one. You can push apart your closed rings so that they're easier to scoop up, and you always want to go from underneath. I see a lot of beginners try to scoop up rings from over top, but then when they pick them up, they fall back off. So you scoop from underneath and push it to the side, scoop from underneath, and you can just do it one at a time, or you can pick up many at the same time. So yeah, now we're just gonna do it again. So yeah, we're just making another unit. Now we have our 5 rings again on here with your 2 here. Separate out 3 from 2. Pick up another open ring. I basically usually never have pre-opened rings, so they're kind of silly to me. And yeah, go through the 3. And then I'm actually going to show you what happens when you accidentally Mobius a ring. So if you like go through the 3 and then you twist through the ring you're supposed to just be doubling, and then you go through the last 2. So this is what happens. It looks like these are kind of stacked up on top of each other. And you don't want that to happen because then we can't do the proper weave. So if that happens, just undo one of these rings. And you don't want to bend the rings too many times because they can break. Like anytime you bend metal, the first time you bend it, it gets stronger, and then anytime after that, it gets weaker. This one should be fine for now, but like if you have any rings that break, just push them off to the side and it's okay. So yeah, now we have 2 little units, and we're just gonna make a couple more. So I'm gonna start just using the raw rings to open and then pick up because it's faster for me. So scoop up 5, double the ring, separate out the 3 from 2. Go through the 3. Have that. Gonna double this ring. If you get really into chainmailing, there are these fancier pliers. They're a lot more expensive, but they're really good for your hands. They're called Lindstroms. That's what I generally use just because I do so much of this work and it is worth it for me. But these are really good beginner pliers, and luckily you get them for free since it's through the library, which is so awesome. And thank you again to my teacher, my chainmail teacher, Rebecca Mojica, for hooking us up with pliers. It's also nice to note that with these pliers, there is a spring. So this is what really makes it good for chainmailing. A lot of beginners who just start chainmailing from tools at like just a hardware store will get ones that don't have a spring, and that is like a nightmare to work with because then you have to keep your finger under here and you have to keep on trying to open and close this by hand, and that'll really wear on you. So yeah, when you're using these pliers, you don't have to have any fingers on the inside, and you shouldn't. You should have them all on the outside. And I never put down my pliers. I always keep them in my hands, and if I need to be working on the weave, I just put the pliers more in the back of my hands and I work over here. Now we have some units. You can make more or less if you just want like a little like zipper pull or something. So yeah, we have all these little babies. I do this a lot for like speed weaving, or when I make clothing, I'll just make thousands of these. You have your little unit, and this is when the weave really starts to take place. You're going to take the like either end, and you're going to what we call a drop and flop. So you're going to drop these side rings to the side and flop them, and then you're going to like open up these rings, and you're going to have a little Pac-Man mouth right there. I'm going to open up. In this case, it will be really helpful if you have open rings since you're a beginner. And so these rings that you just dropped and flopped, which I'll show you again. So you flop them to the side and you kind of like pinch them up with your thumb and index finger, and then you turn it to the side. You are going to put a ring through this little mouth right here. And this locks the ring in place and makes kind of like a little box. I'm going to show it again. So you're going to take these top little loose rings, drop them to the side, pinch them with your index finger and thumb, turn it to the side to see this little Pac-Man, and you're going to hook open ring through the mouth. And now we're going to have this be just the end of your bracelet or necklace, and you're going to just put the clasp on either way and close the ring. So now that'll be kind of like a little anchor. So you can see the little box take shape, and then you're going to do the drop and flop on the other side. So drop and flop, open it up, see the Pac-Man mouth, have an open ring ready, open this up, and go through that mouth. Now, you can keep that in your dominant hand, and with your fingers in the back of your, with your pliers in the back of your hands, you can drop and flop the next unit and go through there, and then hook through and close that ring. This, I'm going to make it sort of like a little charm bracelet kind of look, where you could add charms if you want, or something. Kind of makes it look a bit like a pearl necklace or something, but yeah, so we're just going to have all these little units connected by one ring, but if you want, you can always double or triple that ring if you want a more solid look. But since this is a beginner class and I thought it might be fun to have a slightly different than the normal classical look, I thought it would be nice just to have the one connector, and then you can chainmail a lot faster. So yeah, now we're on this side, we're gonna drop and flop, open up the Pac-Man mouth with your nails, go through here, and take your other unit, drop and flop, pinch it with your fingers, open that up with your nails, and go through the mouth again. And yeah, so now you can see kind of what this bracelet will look like, the weave. Once you have a bigger piece of the weave, it's easier to hold on to. So yeah, always on just the end, you're going to drop those to the side, pinch them up, so it's like, yeah, pointing to the center, turn it to the side, open these up so you have a little Pac-Man mouth, and go through the rings that you dropped and flopped. Drop and flop, pinch, open with your nail, and close. And just keep on doing that until it's whatever length you want it to be. It could be a bracelet or a choker. Yeah, drop and flop, open with your nails, turn to the side, drop and flop over here. So yeah, let's see. Yeah, that's exactly right for me. So to finish it off, you're just going to drop and flop these little babies again. I'm going to take an open ring, go through that Pac-Man mouth, close it. You can either use this little ring to attach the clasp to, but sometimes it's nice to have a more adjustable clasp. Take an open ring, scoop up a closed ring, and attach it to there. And then you have kind of like a little dangly of 3 rings. And you can make it longer or shorter. It's like good for if you want to make a present for a person you don't exactly know how big their wrist is. Or if you're like, I want this to be a bracelet sometimes and an anklet sometimes. So yeah, here's your bracelet.
Check out the rest of the Radical Fit playlist on the YOUmediaChicago YouTube channel. We would love to see the projects you are working on, so use the hashtags CPL Radical Fit, YOUmedia, and YOUmediaChicago, and tag us on Instagram and Twitter at YOUmediaChicago. Or find us on our Facebook, YOUmedia at Chicago Public Library.